Hi, I'm GNT and today I'm here with Aurora Bowkett Yoga. And what are you going to take us through today?
So today I'm going to be doing a full splits workout. So we're going to be looking at hamstring flexibility, strength and mobility to get you down into a full front splits.
Awesome, take it away.
So we're going to start with our feet hips width apart, and from here we're just going to do a nice spinal roll. So I want you to begin with the head, bringing the chin down towards the chest, pulling the belly button into spine. And we're just going to roll slowly down through the back, allowing the arms to fall heavy, all the way down, working through the spine, feeling each vertebra moving down until you reach the floor. So wherever you are, whether you've got your hands on the floor or even if you're still hanging here, just allow yourself to release forward. So we're just working into the backs of the legs gently, just allowing them to open up and release here. And feel free to move maybe a little bit from side to side. You can even grab hold of your elbows and just allow yourself to swing. And just gently moving and bringing some movement into the back body here. From here, planting the hands onto the floor, or if you can't reach the floor, you can place them onto your calves here. I want you to very slowly start to bend through the knees, sinking the pelvis down towards the floor, and then exhale, begin to reach the hips up towards the sky. We're going to do that again, sinking down and stretching up. So again, if you can't reach the floor, you can do the same thing with your calves. You can bend down and then you can reach up, using the floor whenever you need for stabilization. The most important thing is really keeping that neck nice and long and trying to keep the belly as close to the quads or the front of the thighs as you can. Just going to do this a couple more times. And then the last time here, if you can, taking hold of the backs of the legs, inhaling, exhaling, drawing the head down towards the feet. Releasing here. Inhale, rolling back up. This time taking the hands, I want you to reach the fingertips up towards the sky, pulling the belly button into spine. And we're just going to raise up and onto our toes. So in this position, really feel your glutes begin to engage the backs of the legs and the quads. Really stabilizing here, finding your balance. From this position, begin to lower the hands down. And if you can, as an added challenge, try to keep your heels lifted off the floor as we hinge forward from the hips, keeping the belly engaged, pulling that back, lowering all the way down until you get as far as you can in this place. And place the hands down onto the floor or the legs, releasing here. Inhale, begin to flatten the spine up. From here, shift the weight into the hands. Really take the weight out of the feet as we slowly step back and into our plank position. Nice and strong here, engaging through the arms, lifting up through the shoulders. From here, we're just going to gently rock backwards and forwards through the ankles. And here, really feel your quads beginning to lift. So we're not just hanging out in this position here, we're really engaging, lifting through the belly, lifting through the quads. Couple more breaths here. Inhale, begin to shift all the way forward, taking the weight into the fingertips, lowering down, exhaling. Inhale, flipping the toes, lifting up into our upward dog. Exhale, pushing back. So here we're moving into a downward facing dog. Keep the fingers nice and strong into the floor, ground down through the knuckles. Strong in the shoulders as we push away, drawing the elbows together. And breathing here. Inhale, shift the weight into the left foot as we point through the right and begin to extend it up and into the sky, moving into our three-leg down dog. From here, begin to pulse that right leg up towards the ceiling. So I really want you to stay engaged. I don't want you to release the leg here. Really keep it nice and straight no matter where it is. If it's here, here, an inch off the floor, that is absolutely fine. we're just going to keep pulsing. So really getting the glutes working, the hamstrings. One more breath here. And then from this position, begin to bend through the knee. Draw the leg up and under the body, almost trying to touch that knee to your nose. And then lowering that foot as close to your hands as you can. If it comes here, that's absolutely fine. Just take hold of the heel with your right hand and shift it forward. From here, inhale. We're going to lift up to our high lunge. And we're just going to hold here to begin with. So I really want you to think about drawing your ribs in, your belly button to spine. Stay nice and long in your back body. And really beginning to engage in that left quad. From here, holding, feeling the glutes beginning to work. On your next inhale, I want you to very slowly begin to lower your knee down towards the floor and then lift it back up again. I'm going to do this a couple of times, lowering down and then lift it back up. Each time you straighten that leg, really try to stay nice and engaged in that quad. You're really trying to straighten it as much as you can. One more time. And then finally lowering it all the way down to the floor, placing the hands next to your right foot. From here, we're going to push back and move into our half split. From this position, we're just going to hold this stretch for a couple of breaths. I want you to have your belly button, or keep your belly as close to the upper thigh as you can. And we're going to reach our head down, almost trying to touch our toe with our nose. If you're here, that's absolutely fine. But really try and keep pulling the body forward, forward, forward. Holding this stretch, engaging through the arms, so you're really dragging the hands on the floor. Driving the heel down and into the mat or the ground. And drawing that leg back and into the hip socket. Holding here for a couple more breaths. On your next inhale, plant through the hands here. Lift the back so it's nice and flat. From here, we're going to ground down through our left toes, and we're going to slowly begin to shift and straighten that left leg. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. If you want to make it slightly more difficult, you can take the head down to the leg. So move to the extreme of your stretch. Inhale, straighten up, keeping in that same bodily position, and then lower it down. Lifting up, and lower down. One more. Lifting up. From here, begin to draw that leg back, shift the hands behind into the middle, and we're just going to hold here in this active stretch. So you should really feel, especially if you're flexing that front foot, a lot of activational work happening in that right hamstring. So we're not just stretching here, we're really trying to build stability within this flexibility as well. A couple more breaths. And then slowly shifting forward, lengthen up. You can release the foot down to the floor. I'm sure that's a little bit of a relief right now. For me, it definitely is. Right now, we're going to shift our hands forward. Inhale, bend through that right leg and begin to extend up and back through the left. So you want to try and keep this foot at a 90-degree angle for the moment. From here, slight bend in that front leg, and we're going to lift up and move into our warrior three. From here, inhale, begin to crouch into a little ball. Exhale, extend back. Inhale, squeezing in. Exhale, extend out. You can place the fingers on the floor if your balance isn't quite there. That's not a problem. Squeezing that knee in and pulling it out. Honestly, I have days where I can hardly stand on two legs, let alone one. So I feel you if you need to have your fingers on the floor right now. Last time, stretching it out. If you haven't got your hands down, you can lower them down now and begin to work them back towards your right foot. From here, I want you to begin to draw your left leg up into the sky and then begin to shift your gaze through and towards your left foot. So you're trying to stare at your left foot here. If you want, you can also take your right hand around that leg. And from this position, we're just going to slowly start to pulse that left leg back. Breathing here, extending through that left leg. And then slowly holding, breathing here. And then lower that leg down to meet the right. Shaking it out a little bit, releasing forward before rising up to a standing position. So now we have to do the left side. So we're going to repeat the same thing. Inhale, raising your arms up overhead and drawing yourself up and onto your toes. Holding here, beginning to feel that engagement again in the legs, the glutes, really squeezing, raising here. And then from this position again, lowering your hands down to your sides. We're going to begin to shift forward, hinging at the hips, lowering down towards the floor. Again, staying on your toes if you can. If this is too much, honestly, don't worry, lower the heels down and just roll down through the spine as we did right at the beginning of this video. One more breath for me here. And then when you've reached your limit, begin to lower your hands down towards the floor. And either, if you want to stay up on the toes this time, you can, or you can lower the heels, whichever is best for you. We're going to shift the weight forward into the hands and step the left leg back this time and into our plank position. Again, just rocking backwards and forwards, grounding here, squeezing the glutes, and lifting through the quads. From here, inhale, begin to shift forward, so you're bringing the weight into the fingertips, lowering down all the way, hovering just above the floor. Inhale, lifting up, drawing the shoulder blades together and back, and then pushing back into our downward facing dog. From here, grounding through the hands, I'm going to lift the left leg up this time. And from here, just begin to pulse that leg through and back. So you can see here, I'm really engaging in my leg. I'm not allowing it to bend. I'm not having my foot super relaxed. I've got a long line of energy working all the way through my leg. So it's almost like I'm trying to touch the ceiling with my toes right now. Couple more pulses. And then inhale, slowly draw that knee all the way through and into your nose. And then exhale, drop it down in between the hands. From here, lifting the arms up towards the ceiling. We're just going to hold here in this high lunge. Again, keeping the ribs drawing together, the belly button into spine. From here, dropping that back knee and lifting it up. Dropping it down and lifting it up, feeling the glute burn. I can feel mine. Dropping it down, lifting it up. One more time, dropping it all the way down. We're going to hover it for a couple of seconds just off the floor and then release it down, placing the fingertips either side of the feet. We're just going to push back and move through into our half split. So again, it doesn't matter how far down towards your leg you get. You really just want to think the belly down first, then the chest, and then if you can get the head down, you can. But we're really reaching forward, 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 and not curving with the spine here. Nice straight back. Drawing the hands in, drawing the heel down towards the floor, and pulling that leg back and into the hip. Couple more breaths here. Inhale, begin to flatten the back. From here, shifting the weight into the toes of the right foot, we're going to begin to straighten that back leg and lower it down. Again, if you want to make it slightly more difficult, you can take it to the extreme of your stretch here and lift in that position. You're going to do that twice more. Lifting and lowering. And then last time lifting. And from here, shifting the hands back, holding, pulling that heel in towards you, keeping that foot flexed if you can. Breathing here. So you're really activating the back of that leg and not just releasing into this passively. And then releasing up, straightening through the spine, relaxing that foot down, maybe giving the leg a little bit of a shake if you need. From here, we're going to begin to shift the weight into this left leg, bending through the knee, shifting the hands forward, and extending this right leg back. From here, slight micro bend in that knee as you raise up and into your warrior three. From here, we're going to begin to bend that right foot into the calf and extend it back. Squeezing it in and extending it back. One more time, squeezing it in and extending it back. If you need to put the hands down on the floor, don't worry, you can. Squeezing in and then extending it back. From here, if you haven't got the hands down, lower them down now. If you have, we're going to start to walk the fingers back towards the left foot. Again, drawing that leg up towards the sky and taking the head through and up towards that right foot. And again, from here, we're just going to start to pulse that right leg. So you're really actively working here into the glute, into the hamstring. And then from here, holding at the max that you can before lowering down and just releasing forward. So that's a really nice way to work on the active flexibility of your hamstrings, because you're working against gravity. You're having to really lift the leg up and into a split position rather than relying on your weight to draw you down into the floor.